I want to be loved. I want marriage.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive. Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10.
Men and women experience loneliness very differently. Men have a tendency to feel lonely
in their 30s as soon as I started listening, because women in their 30s are desperate.
The loneliness in modern women is just getting worse every single day.
I don't want to do anything for you. I don't want to cook for you. I don't want to clean for you.
Loneliness is something that's going to be afflicting a lot of people in 2020.
I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Poor choices and decisions equals poor results. You've done this to yourself.
Why do men not understand hints? Why do I have to spell every fucking thing out? Why can't you just one simple little hinting at this? Can understand what I'm trying to say? I don't want to have to spell everything out like I'm your mother.
Men and women experience loneliness very differently. Men have a tendency to feel lonely because they don't have the options for partnership. Women feel as if the options are not the right ones for them. Which way do you feel? Do you agree with this as a man or a woman? How do you experience loneliness?
Some of us just accept defeat. We're broken and scarred with negative memories, so therefore too frightened to even try again. I feel loneliness by thinking the options are not the right ones, and I am a man. If a man were to feel lonely today, it would be because in this generation, the expectations he has to meet is just ridiculous. Therefore, because he can't meet them, he chooses to stay by himself. Most of them have had very peaceful lives without a woman. Back then, a man could have gotten a woman without having to do all of these crazy things today. But times has changed. Women feel lonely because they are looking for perfection, a man with no flaws that ticks all their boxes. Little do they know, that man only exists in their imagination. No one is perfect. So because of that, they will continue to suffer. Their delusion is the only cause for their loneliness.
There is a study by Morgan Stanley Financial. They did you can go find it too. It's online. It's called The Rise of the She Economy. In that sort of research, they postulate that by 2030, women between the ages of 25 and 44, something like 52%. I hope I'm getting my numbers right. Something like 45 to 52%.
It's over half.
Yeah, over half.
It's going to be over half
of women of marriageable age will be single for the rest of their lives. They will not reproduce unless they get unless they get artificial insemination, but they will be unmarried and childless during those ages by 2030, which is like a very, very steep incline. In fact, they are so certain of this that they did this research on Morgan Stanley so their investors would know what to invest in the coming decade.
Well, fellas, now that you know what to invest in the coming years, what exactly is stopping you? This trend of women being single and lonely is only going to get worse and worse. I guess the saying was right after all. The enemy of humanity is humanity itself.
Loneliness is something that's going to be afflicting a lot of people in 2024. So now more than ever before, it is important for you to affirm yourself and really double down on those relationships. Contrary to popular belief around 2024 is starting afresh. It's time to cut off friendships. No, sis, it's time for you to hold on and hang on tight to the dear friendships that you have, the sisters that you have in your life. Now is the time for you to make sure that you are good, right, and tight with those sisters, because it's those sisters that will carry you from the beginning of 2024 to the end of your lifetime. So please.
No single woman over 35 is happy being single. That's a lie. In a public face. In private, she's crying at night. Unhappy, wishing she had someone to talk to and comfort and be the man in her life. Let's keep it real. Red flag.
I want to be loved. I want marriage. You know, a lot of us get on here, we act tough, and we be like, I don't want a man, I don't need a man, but I want help. I want to be loved. I want somebody to love me. I want somebody I can be vulnerable with. The problem is, and I'm not crying out because I'm sad. I'm crying out because it's like a release right now. But the problem for me, y'all, is that all the relationships that I had with men were not about love. It was about survival for me. I know how to fuck. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to seduce a man. I do not know how to love a man. And then to have a son, because of those choices that I was making, y'all, and I got pregnant really, really fast. I got pregnant within 90 days of knowing my baby daddy. And we don't talk about this shit because it's embarrassing and it hurts. It fucking hurts. And I'm mad with me. I'm not mad at men. I'm not mad at my life. I'm mad at me because I don't know how to fix me. I don't know how to fix it. That's accountability. That's the shit that hurts. It's realizing that, hey, I got some shit with me that I don't know how to fucking fix. And in turn, because I don't know how to fix that shit, I'm fucking up other people around me.
This is so brave of her, and I feel this is the first step to healing. Hope more women open up. I think most marriages throughout history have been more about survival than love, to be honest. I think she's on the right track to heal herself. And as a man, all I can wish her is good luck in her quest. It's not impossible. Now this is something I respect. She is taking full accountability for her actions and being honest about it. I used to just let myself be used by men, and I would go out looking for it, just to have some companionship, even for 30 mins. And I had to take a good look at myself and realize that I was putting myself up for being used, and I owed my body a lot more. So I fully stopped, and it's made me better. Deep down inside. This is how most modern women feel. They act tough and say they don't need a man, but really they do. They're unable to come out and say it because they lack taking accountability. These women would rather suffer in silence rather than opening up and being truthful, not realizing that's making them more and more miserable until they break down.
The fact that I marry Storytime has had me in a chokehold, but I knew she was in her 30s as soon as I started listening, because women in their 30s are desperate. She said it herself. She was desperate to get married. She was desperate to have children, that she was blind to the bullshit.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive. Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10. If you're a 10, you're probably not catcalling. But don't do it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that unless you're sexy.
I thought catcalling was creepy and weird. This is the same standard women have for themselves when it comes to the gym. If an attractive guy hits on her at the gym, it makes it okay. But if it's not, it's creepy. The bottom line is, women are fine being catcalled as long as you're attractive. They're just angry at it when someone unattractive is doing it to them. In their imagination, they think they're so pretty that only certain men should be allowed to hit on them. What a joke.
You know what's interesting that people don't normally talk about is that the pretty girls are often the absolutely loneliest, most torn apart, bullied girls. When I was in high school, I was categorized as like the pretty girl. I was in the rural Midwest and I wore makeup, so like it doesn't say much about me. It's just like what people talked about me as. Like people would just put me under that label.
I have reached my breaking point of having to do this life thing alone. I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all aspects. I want my heart and soul to be seen and held. I just can't do it alone anymore, and I'm at my breaking point. I can do it physically alone. I've been doing it, but I don't want to. I don't deserve to, because I am worthy of companionship, of community, of love, of affection, of support, of someone lifting me up, motivating me, encouraging me. I am worthy of that. So I deserve to receive that. I don't want to do it alone anymore. And I've been crying all day because of it.
I understand being alone and lonely can be a painful thing to endure. But these women come on the camera and cry about how hard it is, but keep forgetting to look in their friend zone. I'm sure they can find a guy there who's been trying to get with them. Or better yet, they can look at their inbox messages. The thing is, these women aren't doing that because they're all looking for a certain type of man. There's so many good men out here. Another issue is this right here. This woman said, Your definition of a good man isn't ours. The kind of good man they're looking for is the guy who accepts their bullshit no matter what. The guy who's gonna finance their lifestyle while they kick their feet up. So many good guys have been burned in marriages. If a good man isn't good enough for you, then no man is good for you. You'll just keep running around in circles being passed around. Another thing I notice is that the good man is always enough for a good woman. It's always the modern birds the good man isn't enough for.
Men can't believe that women are single by choice because men aren't single by choice.
What an interesting statement. I cannot wait to hear what one is basing that off of.
They may be finding women to go on dates with, but nothing's sticking.
Okay, well that happens for women as well. So what exactly is this leading up to?
And so they're lashing out at women saying things like, have fun being single or enjoy your cats.
Not all men say things like that.
Sir, that's the whole point, is that I am having fun being single and I love my cats.
So that means that one is single by choice, right? So why can a woman be single by choice, but not a man?
I also love my peace of mind, not having to be accountable to somebody who isn't really that interested. He's not interested in me and my life and things that I want and need.
And there it is. That is actually the reason why a lot of men are now choosing to remain single. For that very reason.
As men age alone, it is not good.
Oh, really?
And the men are not okay. But I'm finding that as I age, I am getting happier and happier with myself and my girlfriends and my family. And the idea of having to accommodate a man's insecurities or even securities is just less and less appealing.
And with that, one actually nailed the reason why a lot of men are also choosing to remain single. Because oftentimes, it's simply more peaceful. It's as simple as that.
Book is based on a survey where men and women were asked if they got 80% of everything they want in their ideal mate, would they be happy with that? And women said, no, that's settling. And men said, 80%, I'd be thrilled. That's a catch. And so
80% to the women you surveyed is settling?
That's settling because, the question is, what actually makes us happy in long-term romantic love? And, that's the question that I explore in the book. And I'm a journalist, so I went out and I asked neurobiologists about chemistry, and I asked behavioral economists about demographics, and I asked marital researchers.
What are women too picky about here?
Well, I'll tell you, men and women were asked what would be a deal breaker for going on a second date. And men named 3 things. They said she has to be cute enough. She doesn't have to look like Angelina Jolie. She just has to be cute enough. She has to be warm and kind. And she has to be interesting to talk to. Those seem like really valid criteria.
Ding, 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 ding. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay, reasonable, right? The women came back with 300 things that would rule out a guy for a second date. And we're talking about like another 2 hours and maybe a free dinner. And they wouldn't do it. And there were things like, he wore a brown belt with black shoes. Or we were having a really good time and I thought he was cute and he was interesting. But then he did this Austin Powers impression and I just can't get that out of my mind and I can't go out with him again. Austin Powers guy could be the love of her life.
Even if I met all 5,000 things on that list, for their happiness and expectations, I'd rather be alone and living for myself than someone else. If you find the perfect man that ticket all the boxes, how would that make you feel in comparison? The last thing I want in a woman is perfection. Women these days are not looking for Mr. Right. They're looking for a Mr. Right now, then bitch about the fact there's never any good man around. In conclusion, you cannot make anyone happy. Everyone is responsible for their own happiness. It doesn't matter what you do or how you do it. It will never be enough for the women today. That's why it's better to look after yourself and focus on what you got going on. People say modern women will die alone, but we all die alone. We want to live life and only with someone who is the perfect one, rather alone than unhappy.
Why would we pay for drinks at the Clock Hotel?
Why? Who's paying?
The old men.
You guys into sugar daddies?
Yes. Yeah. We're looking for a double sugar daddy date.
What have you got to offer the sugar daddy?
We have nothing. Ones where they don't want me. And
Red gang.
My friends are strippers.
Girls, can you tell us something your mum doesn't know?
We are both cocaine addicts.
We love coke.
It's all fun and games until they reach 30. Then they start to feel the weight of their poor decisions when they were younger.